Too Deep had rehearsed her words countless times on the long walk to the James family mansion. Every step felt heavier than the last, yet she kept going, one hand resting gently on her belly, as if drawing strength from the tiny heartbeat growing inside her. She told herself that this time would be different. This time, Father James would understand. This time, he would see her not as a threat, but as the woman his son loved, and the mother of his future grandchild. But the moment she stepped into the cold marble hall, that fragile hope began to crack. Father James stood at the far end of the room, his posture rigid, his brows drawn into a stern line. He didn't ask her to sit, he didn't offer tea, he didn't even greet her. He simply looked at her as though she had no right to breathe the same air. "Why did you come back here?" he asked, his voice sharp like a blade. Too Deep swallowed hard. "I came to talk, to explain. I don't want misunderstandings to continue. James and I—" "James and you?" Father James cut her off, his tone rising. "There is no James and you. There will never be." She felt her heart twist, but she forced herself to continue. "Sir, I am carrying his child. I only wish for peace." "Peace?" he laughed coldly. "A child like you thinks she can bring peace? You bring nothing but shame. You have nothing, no education, no background, no value. My son ruined enough of his future already. I won't let you destroy the rest." Each sentence struck her like a slap. "I am not trying to destroy anything," her voice trembled. "I only want a chance." "There is no chance," Father James thundered. "Leave, and do not come back. Not now, not ever." Too Deep felt the room spin. She had expected rejection, yes, but this brutality, this hatred, she could never have prepared for. Her fingers pressed against her belly, as if shielding the unborn child from the cruelty hurled at them. "I'm sorry," she whispered, though she no longer knew what she was apologizing for. She turned and walked away, her steps unsteady, her vision blurred. The garden outside shimmered under the morning sun, but in her eyes, the world was nothing but gray. She didn't stop until she reached the gate. Only then did the tears finally fall, silent at first, then uncontrollable. Once again, she had been rejected, and this time, the wound felt deep enough to break her completely. When James arrived at Too Deep's small house, he immediately sensed something was wrong. The front door was slightly open, the curtains trembled in the afternoon breeze, and the usually warm, light-filled space felt strangely hollow, like someone had left in a hurry, or like a heart had broken there only moments ago. "Deep?" he called softly. No answer. He stepped inside, eyes scanning the room. Her favorite scarf was thrown carelessly on the chair. A cup of tea, still warm, sat untouched on the table. And on the other side of the room, her phone lay face down, an unmistakable sign that she had been too distressed to even take it with her. James's chest tightened. He picked up the phone, noticing a few missed calls from him, some unread messages, and one unsent voice recording. His thumb hovered for a moment before pressing play. Her trembling voice filled the room. "James, I went to see your father. I thought maybe he would listen this time. But I was wrong. Maybe I am foolish for hoping. I don't know what to do anymore. I just need some time to think." A pause, a few muffled sobs. "Don't worry. I will be fine. I just need to breathe." The recording ended abruptly. James felt the world tilt. His father had promised that he would not confront her again, that he would wait, that he would give James time to explain everything properly, that he would try, even if reluctantly. But he had broken that promise, and now Too Deep was gone. James ran a hand through his hair, frustration boiling beneath his skin. He grabbed his keys and stepped back outside, determination sharpening every movement. He knew where she went. Whenever life became too heavy, Too Deep always returned to the small bridge overlooking the rice fields, her secret safe place, where she could breathe without fear. The place where she once told him, "When the world hurts me, this view reminds me that life can still be gentle." He sped down the road, heart pounding, thoughts racing faster than the car itself. Was she crying alone? Was she blaming herself? Was she thinking of leaving him? The last thought hit him like ice. "No," he muttered, "I won't let her face this alone." As he approached the fields, the golden light of sunset spread across the horizon. And there, small, fragile, sitting at the edge of the bridge, was Too Deep, hugging her knees as the wind carried away the sound of her quiet sobs. James slowed the car, his heart shattering at the sight. He knew this moment could change everything, and he could only pray he wasn't too late. James stepped out of the car slowly, afraid that any sudden sound might send Too Deep running, not from him, but from the pain she carried inside. The gravel beneath his shoes whispered softly as he approached her. "Diep," he called, his voice barely above the wind. She stiffened. Just a small movement, but enough to show she had heard him. A few seconds passed before she spoke, her voice fragile. "I told you I needed time, James." He swallowed hard. "I know, but I came anyway." Too Deep wiped her cheeks quickly, as though embarrassed to be seen crying. She didn't turn around. "You shouldn't have," she whispered. "I don't want to make this harder for you." James took another step, then another, until he stood just behind her. "You're not making anything harder. My father is." At those words, Too Deep finally turned her head. Her eyes were swollen, her lashes wet, and her expression a mix of exhaustion and heartbreak. "Why does he hate me so much?" she asked, her voice cracked on the last word. "What have I done, James? Tell me, what did I do wrong?" That question stabbed him deeper than any accusation. He knelt beside her so they were at eye level. "You did nothing wrong," he said firmly. "Nothing. This is not your fault, even a little." "Then why?" "Because he's afraid." James exhaled shakily. "Afraid of losing me. Afraid of mistakes he made years ago. Afraid of facing the truth about himself. And instead of dealing with it, he puts the burden on you." Too Deep stared at him, searching for something. Answers, reassurance, hope. "But today," her voice trembled again, "today he said I would ruin your life. He said marrying me was the biggest mistake you could ever make." James shut his eyes briefly. He could practically hear his father's voice, sharp, controlling, cold. "I don't care what he said," James replied. "He doesn't get to decide who I love. He doesn't get to dictate my life. And he especially doesn't get to hurt you." Her lips parted, surprised at the intensity in his voice. He reached out slowly, giving her the chance to pull away. She didn't. His thumb brushed a tear from her cheek. "Diep, you are the woman I chose, the woman I want, and I will fight for you, for us, no matter what he says." Her breath hitched. The wind grew softer, as if listening. "James," she whispered, voice tangled with fear and longing. "What if your father never accepts me? Then I will love you enough for both of us, and I will stand between you and every storm, even if the storm is my own family." For the first time since the confrontation, Too Deep let out a shaky breath that wasn't quite a sob. And in that quiet, golden moment on the bridge, she leaned, just slightly, into the man who had always been her strength. That evening, the sky dimmed into a deep violet, and the lights of the city flickered one by one. James drove Too Deep home, but neither of them spoke. Not because they had nothing to say, but because both were afraid that speaking might shatter the fragile calm they had rebuilt. When they reached her small wooden gate, Too Deep hesitated. Her hand remained on the door handle, unmoving. "James," she finally said, voice low, If things continue like this, you'll lose your father." James stared at her, the glow from the street lamp reflecting in his eyes. "Diep, I already told you." "But this is different," she cut in gently. "He's not angry at you for something small. He's angry because of me." She placed a hand over her chest. "Because I exist in your life." "Exactly," James said softly, "and that proves the problem is not you, it's him." Diep lowered her head. "I can bear the pain he gives me. I can bear humiliation, rejection, anything, but I can't bear watching you lose your family because of me." James stepped forward, closing the distance between them. "Diep, listen to me carefully. Family is not made of blood alone. Family is built from love, loyalty, and respect. If my father cannot respect the woman I love, then he is the one choosing distance, not me." Her breath fluttered. "But James," she whispered, "I'm scared." "I know," he replied, lifting her chin gently. "I'm scared too. But loving you has always been worth the fear." A tear escaped her eye, but this time it wasn't from sorrow. It was from being seen, truly seen. Before she could speak again, footsteps echoed behind them. Both turned. Father James stood under the street lamp, shadows cutting across his stern face. His eyes were heavy, conflicted, and burning with emotions he pretended not to have. "Too deep," he said coldly. "Do you truly believe you deserve my son?" The world froze. Too Deep's fingers curled against her dress, her whole body trembling. She opened her mouth, but no words came. James instantly stepped in front of her, blocking his father's glare. "Don't talk to her like that," he said. It wasn't loud, it wasn't aggressive, it was simply firm, unbreakable. Father James's eyes widened. "You dare defy me for her?" "For the woman I love," James said, steady as steel. "Yes." A long silence followed, the kind that feels like the world is inhaling and forgetting to exhale. Too Deep sighed. The exact moment Father James's expression shifted. The moment he realized his son was no longer an obedient boy, but a man who had chosen his heart over his heritage. The older man looked at Too Deep once more, then at James. His voice was hoarse, almost disappointed. "Very well," he said. "If this is the path you choose, then follow it." And with slow, heavy steps, he turned and walked away. Too Deep's knees weakened. James caught her before she fell. "It's okay," he murmured. "Whatever happens next, we face it together." She buried her face against his chest, her voice breaking softly. "James, thank you for fighting for me." He held her tighter, as though protecting the most fragile and precious thing in his life. And under the quiet night sky, they both understood. This was no longer just love. It was a vow, one built not from promises, but from courage. Moral lesson: when love is tested. In every story of love, there comes a moment when the heart must face its deepest fear, the fear of not being accepted. Too Deep's journey is not simply about falling in love with James. It is about discovering the strength to love herself even when others reject her. Father James's harsh words cut deeply, yet from that pain emerged a powerful truth: love is not defined by someone else's approval. The lesson her story teaches us is both gentle and profound. True love requires courage, and courage often requires sacrifice. Too Deep loved James not because he was wealthy or admired, but because she found in him a sense of warmth, safety, and belonging. Yet in return, she was faced with cruelty, suspicion, and rejection, things that could easily convince a person to give up. But she didn't. Instead, she held on to her dignity, her sincerity, and her belief that love must never be abandoned out of fear. James, too, learned an important truth. Loving someone means standing beside them even when the world tells you not to. It means protecting the person you cherish, not by building walls around them, but by standing shoulder to shoulder against whatever threatens them. His decision to defend Diep, even against his own father, reminds us that family is not just inherited, it is chosen through loyalty and compassion. Most importantly, the story reveals that pain is not the end of love. Sometimes it is the beginning of clarity. When Father James rejected Diep, she discovered her own resilience. When he challenged James, James discovered his own priorities. When both stood together in the darkness, they realized that love is not fragile. It only becomes fragile when we stop fighting for it. Therefore, the greatest lesson is this: love that survives hardship becomes unbreakable. And people who choose each other in the darkest moments shine the brightest when the storms finally pass. Diep's broken heart did not weaken her. It shaped her into a woman capable of loving without losing herself. And that is the kind of strength the world rarely sees, yet deeply admires.